to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode. My name is Dr. Mumbi. We really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. You know, I wanted to clarify this thing that people always say, becoming the highest version of yourself, becoming the higher version of yourself, etc., etc. It's something that's been pushed by a lot of these self-help gurus. It was like a whole movement. I think even in the prosperity gospel. And you see, it means one thing for the average human, and it means a totally different thing for us chosen ones. So I thought I would enlighten you on what exactly it means to become the highest version of yourselves in this time. And that is really what we should go for. But if we have this deeper understanding, then we can understand who we are, unveiling ourselves to be who we're literally becoming in this season so that we can move forward. You see, we as chosen ones have been here plenty times. Let me just put it like that. We've been here over and over again. We've achieved mastery in certain professions. We have many skills accessible to us. And they say that whenever someone is facing like a near-death experience or a traumatic experience, the veil between lifetimes kind of goes down, and all of a sudden they'll get these gifts that they didn't have, or supernatural strength or things like that they didn't have. And it's like they access knowledge and giftings and powers from other lifetimes, and they bring them into this situation. And that usually happens, when someone is facing some kind of danger, because the veil goes down, because then it's about the survival, and the entire soul is involved in that, is interested in that. But this has also started happening with the awakening process, and that's why it feels so intense. It feels like a continual death and resurrection, because it's like you die to this self, then you're born as this self, and then you learn the lessons there. So you die to this self, and then you're born to this self, and you keep going higher. And it's because, we're moving into, this is what we prepared for. This is what the life is about. This is what the spiritual warfare is about, because we are moving to the level where we collapse the veil of all our lifetimes, beloveds, where we fully stand in our Akashic records and we can access the highest version of ourselves. So if you were a pharaoh in a previous life, all of those giftings, all of that power, all of that sacred knowledge will come to you. If you manage to, become a guru, a Buddha, someone who ascended, then that becomes the person that you become now. Because you see, many of us have been going through a dying process. We're dying to who people tried to make us, to who we thought we were, to the limited scope of who we were. And we are ascending. The ascension is about elevating to your highest self, which means to the highest narrative that you had while you were here. And it's just like you'll become that person. So if you were a master teacher, all of a sudden, you'll just find you're getting all this information and all these downloads about science, about physics, about, creating renewable and things that you are just beyond your scope right now. You'll just find that you have access to that information. Where does that information come from? It comes from that highest mastered version of yourself. And you see, for many of the chosen ones, as I explained in the previous episode, please watch it. I think it's entitled something like Things That You Don't Know as a Chosen One That Are Never Explained. Because if you're not a chosen one, you wouldn't even know these things. But when you achieved mastery, many of you chosen ones, you achieved that mastery. You achieved that ascension in your previous life where you graduated. So it's like graduating from university and then returning, summa cum laude, like the highest level, and then returning back to that university, and you have all your notes, you have every experience to your advantage. So it may be, same curriculum, same test, same everything. It may be a different teacher, it may be a different environment. The university may have done some renovations, so things are moving a bit different. It may be more digital, but you still have access to all that information that you had when you did this before. So it should literally be like a walk in a park, and you can now advance to another level. That's where our armor is going to come from. That's where our protection is going to come from, and that's where our power is going to come from. And what I was saying about the masterhood, when you achieve that mastery, beloveds, you see, before this confusion that came with this Babylon system, people used to come lifetime after lifetime and achieve a certain level of mastery. And then when they achieved that level of mastery, they would now ascend, or, rise to the heavens, like the Isaiah situation in the Old Testament. And what would happen is that in order to achieve that level of graduation, they would reach a certain level of purity, let me put it like that, in their own lives, and mastery and discipline in their own lives. That knowledge from previous lives would come online, and they would use that information to now graduate to the next level. So the person you want to become is that guru that you were, is that master that you were, is that Messiah that you were, is that goddess that you were, the highest, the king, the queen, the highest priest, the highest priestess. That's who you want to become, because in becoming that, you get access to every single life you ever had, because they've already mastered everything. There's a deeper understanding, and that's who you'll see yourself going back and forth from. That's the highest version of yourself that has started to manifest and has been helping you to achieve certain masteries, or you've just found yourself doing things that you would never have had the knowledge to do. You would have never, there's no way you could ever have known that, beloved. I'm going to share a story right after this.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. Special shout out, of course, to our Patreon family. Thank you so much for supporting us on that platform. And to everyone who sent us love donations for our birthday. We really, really appreciate, love you for that. So we're talking today about, what does it mean to be the highest version of yourself as a chosen one? It means that this is why we do the cleaning. This is why we do the cleansing. This is why we clean ourselves and our spaces, and we clear and we release all these low vibrational thoughts, experiences, narratives, so that we can become a highest version, that we can access that, beloveds, because we are in a time when the veil is so thin, and the veil is all around us. It's literally a prison, which means you can't see who you were before. You can't see who you're going to become, because time is our creation. Life is a continuum, beloveds. You can't see above and you can't see below. So you can't see your angels, and sometimes you can't see the demons in your life, or your own demons. But we are now, the veil is so thin, and we are in such a magical time, beloveds, where you are expected. Some of you are already moving into that highest version of yourselves, and that highest version of yourselves is the master that you were. And coming online as that master will give you your positioning. That's the character, that's the personality that everyone has been pursuing you all your life for. That's that royal priesthood that has access to all the powers, but they're also the gatekeeper. You see, many of you have suffered and continue to suffer because of gifts that people think they can just get just like that. But you see, those giftings and more giftings are not just lying dormant in us just like that. They're lying within a character that is dormant within us. And when we get into that character, when we can carry that character because we have the necessary spiritual maturity to carry that character, then all those giftings that they've always envied us for, that they've always hated us for, that they've tried to kill us for, come online naturally. And they're defended by that highest character, because that highest character conquered both good and evil. Conquering good Those are stories definitely for other days, and it's not so much conquering good, but anyway, it's balance, beloveds. It's all about balance, and until we get there, because this is a mighty character that we are about to embody. Some of us, were high priestesses. Some of us were queens of Sheba. Some of us come from the bloodline of King Solomon. The King Solomon's in our own nations. The Queen of Sheba's in our own nations. Queen of Sheba was like the highest level astronomer, the highest level spiritualist, the highest priestess, and that was that bloodline. You know what I mean? And so it's so important for us to come to recognize just what that is. Like, the giftings come with that character, come with being able to embody that character. Many of us were kings and queens. I may not agree with the way the pharaohs used to be buried with all their wealth, the wealth, their animals alive and everything, but that means that that is accessible to you now. And you see, when you get into, that's why we're gonna see, like, the world is gonna change so miraculously. Many of you are gonna be like having such mind-blowing, out of this world experiences in your life when you become this highest version of yourselves, because all of those things will just come showering down on you, and they can't be taken. The reason we went through this experience is so we could understand the lower man. If we hadn't gone through this experience, we would have never been able to understand how low they can go. It's beyond us, like, literally, beloveds. And so your giftings have always been safe. Your powers have always been hidden in that greatest version of yourself that is literally in another atmosphere. So it's like you're trying to acclimatize to all these lives. And you see, whenever you're ascending, whenever you're coming to new levels, you access the lives that were on that level. I hope I'm making sense. So you'll access the level, that version of yourself that was on that level, so that you can gain from their experience as well. Many of us have had millions of lives, so we can't even compare to some of the people that are trying to compare themselves to us. We're not equal, beloveds. We're ancient souls. We are the ancient ones. And so there's experiences, there's parallel experiences that you are tapping into. That's why you'll know how to deal with certain situations. Beloveds, as I go higher, it's like almost I'm changing from a person to a different person to a different person. And I found all of a sudden, beloveds, I'm making candles. I'm making sage, lavender sticks, sage sticks. There's so much that I'm doing right now that is even beyond my scope. I've been making like different herbal medicines. And so, it's so funny because a lot of people think like the doctor is because of the PhD. No, the doctor is my spiritual rank, beloveds. And it's stuff that I didn't even know. If you were to ask someone who knew me back in the day and you tell them like I'm this healer, they probably would be like, okay, maybe I saw that potential in her, but really, but it's just like all this stuff, beloved. So it's like, and I'm living in a garden of lavender. So literally, these are the things that start to come online all of a sudden. And it's like I've always kind of been into herbal medicine, roots and stuff like that. But now it's like I'm a different, like I've accessed a different part of me. And all that information is coming flooding in. Like, I'll do a little research on the powers of like black seed oil, and it's just all of a sudden everything will download, not just from what I'm seeing online, but even from my own spirit. And that's what I mean, like accessing the libraries within us, because so much information has been hidden, but it can't be hidden from you, beloveds. And that's what it means to become the highest version of yourself. It's to become that king that you were, that queen that you were. And all of a sudden, that kingdom and that queendom just manifest gloriously right here on earth. Tuko pamoja.